First up on the show, a group of US lawmakers met the Dalai Lama during a landmark two-day visit to India's Dharamshala, the capital of the Tibetan government in exile. The head of the US congressional delegation said President Joe Biden will soon sign a bill that aims to press China to resolve the Tibet dispute. The former American House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called the meeting with the Dalai Lama a blessing and an honor. The US lawmaker underlined that the US would not allow China to influence the choice of the Dalai Lama's successor. Nancy Pelosi also said that the Tibet Resolve Act that is to be signed by the president next week is a strong message to China.
This bill is a message to the Chinese government that we have clarity in our thinking and our understanding of this issue of the freedom of Tibet. So thank you for making this bill the policy of the United States of America, which says to the Chinese government, things have changed now, get ready for that. And also understand this. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, with his message of knowledge and tradition and compassion and purity of soul and love, he will live a long time and his legacy will live forever. But to you, President of China, you'll be gone and nobody will give you credit for anything.
With all the war and conflict in the world, that his message brings peace, and he talked a lot about the science of the brain, and the Tibetan monk does not have conflict and anger, but is very peaceful. I think moving forward, the science behind the brain of the Buddhist monk is going to be very helpful. I also talked about moving forward with China to have a free Tibet.
And China's criticism of the visit was immediate and unsurprising. Beijing warned Washington, D.C. of resolute measures to be initiated by China to firmly defend its sovereignty, security and development interests if American President Biden signs a new bill into a law. The American delegation on a two-day visit to Dharamshala is led by the U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Michael McCaul. The delegation of lawmakers include the former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and prominent congressional members. Our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, also got a chance to meet the president of the Tibetan government in exile. Take a look.
The Chinese always react adversely to any thing that is happening around the world which they don't agree with. So it's not a surprise. I think the world should not also be surprised because of their statements and the positions on Tibet. They occupied our nation and now they are saying that His Holiness is a separatist. And His Holiness always says middle way to find a negotiated, non-violent, mutually beneficial, lasting solution to the cause of Tibet or the Sino-Tibet conflict. So now the question is, who wants Tibet to be separated from China, whether it's the Chinese government or His Holiness the Dalai Lama? That is something to judge for the international community. If it is not for the government and people of India, we don't exist. So we have always been very, very grateful to the government and people of India for their support over the decades. The successive governments, whoever comes into power, have been very, very supportive. And I always say that without India's support, we would not exist here as government in exile or Central Tibetan administration.
The key visit of the US delegation, which includes lawmakers to Dharamshala, has concluded, and this visit of course saw the key meeting with His Holiness Dalai Lama and fiery speeches as well, where the lawmakers talked about the Resolve Tibet Act, which they said will be signed by US President very soon. But it sent a message to China as well about the US Congress's commitment towards the Tibetan cause. Now, how will it impact the Washington-Beijing relationship is something that will be closely watched. We have already seen a strong reaction by China over their presence in Dharamshala. But now, given that they have made speeches which China will see against it, it is only going to anger China more. but the repercussions on the Washington-Beijing relationship is something that will be closely watched now. With video journalist Neeraj Patel, Dharamshala for WION in Dharamshala, India.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.